Greetings, everyone. I guess we can still say Happy New Year. Is there a moratorium on that? I'm not sure, but some of you we haven't been with yet this year. So again, Happy New Year. Thanks for joining us today, and let's give folks another minute or so to join into the meeting, and then we'll go ahead and get started. So just sit tight, and we'll be ready to go in a minute. For those of us on the East Coast of the United States, it's been an amazing few days of a lot of snow and wind and winter, and it's hopefully its final blustery hurrah, and hopefully we'll be getting into spring here very shortly. So hopefully everyone here on the East Coast has been safe and are digging out somehow. Okay, well, why don't we go ahead and get started? I know a few folks will be joining us as we get started here. So again, welcome to today's IWCS webinar. We appreciate you being here. My name is Dave Cadu, and I'm honored to be the CEO and Director of IWCS. I'll be your moderator for today's webinar. A few housekeeping items. Many of you are aware that you are part of a larger audience, and during the presentation, all participants will be in listen-only mode. And as a reminder, we are recording this event, so you'll be able to view it again or share it with your colleagues through the IWCS website and our YouTube channel. So that typically it takes just a few days or a week or so to get that up and running. So we encourage you to submit questions at any time during the presentation. Please use the chat button on the right of your screen. Just select chat, and after typing your questions in the space at the bottom, hit the send button, and your questions will be addressed, time permitting, at the end of the presentation. So please use the chat button for your questions. Our webinar series event today is on industry trends and is hosted by Alphagary, a partner level sponsor of the IWCS Cable and Connectivity Industry Forum. IWCS offers a series of webinars on important trends and technologies from, the perspectives of our supply chain technology leaders and also the sponsors of our IWCS Industry Forum. Today, we welcome Rob Conway, the Global Wire and Cable Business Manager for Alphagary. And he's residing in Massachusetts, USA. Today you'll learn that for over 30 years, Alphagary has partnered with its customers to develop wire and cable materials that meet real-world demands of indoor and outdoor installations. As requirements have evolved, Alphagary's products continue to evolve as well, considering the fire performance requirements, mechanical properties, and processability and installation requirements. Rob is the National Sales Manager and Global Wire and Cable Business Manager for Alphagary, which is an Orbia business. Rob is a graduate of Allegheny College and has over 35 years of experience in the wire and cable industry with leading companies such as LAP Group, C&M Corporation, Cable Components Group, and of course now Alphagary. So Rob, welcome, and thank you for being with us today.
David, thank you, and hello everybody, and thanks Dave and Michelle and Becky for putting this together. And I'd also like to thank Francine and Denise for helping me pull all this together and be able to present for you guys today. Alphagary is part of Orbia Polymer Solutions. Orbia is a purpose-driven company that provides solutions to today's challenges that are aligned with our mission of advancing life around the world. Alphagary is a global company with 2 facilities in Asia, 3 facilities in the North America, 2 in the UK, and 1 in Colombia and 2 in Mexico. And each of those facilities, we keep working towards increasing their capabilities and their ability to support the region as well as being a global company. Let's see here. And David, I'm sorry if I jumped the gun on sharing too soon. I might have screwed you up, but so your application, our expertise, Alphagary is a solutions provider for customized specialty compounds. Alphagary offers the best-in-class engineering and services, consistent product quality, trustworthy and credible formulation integrity, and risk reduction from a financially strong and stable organization with multiple production plants around the world. Our capability is operational excellence in complex compounded materials for our focused industry segments. Our focused industry segments are our largest one is wire and cable, which we'll be focused on today and talking about, but we also are in medical, food and beverage, building and construction, automotive, consumer goods, and industrial. So when you think of Alphagary, of who we are, we do have product types, but those are really used to illustrate what our wide range of capabilities are. Being a capabilities company means we offer a very unique set of skill sets to offer solutions to various problems around the world. And those customers that work with us tend to work with us for decades. So 30 years plus, as David said, I've been in wire and cable myself over 30 years. I'm sitting here today talking to you all from North Central Massachusetts, our Leominster, Massachusetts plant, which is probably the most diverse in capabilities and probably state of the art as far as its engineering services. Really bunch of sharp people here developing a lot of solutions for the wire and cable market. We've been formulation expertise is in PVCs, low smoke, zero hals, TPEs, which could be of the SEBS groups of Styrenics, CPEs, and olefin technologies. Based on this, solution innovations that fill gaps for businesses and market needs. If we think back to when we were talking about as we were prepping for this webinar, back to the late 80s, early 90s, when David and I were here, and some of the giants of the industry of like a Bob Jenks, Dan Delisle, Charlie Glue, and Tony Sansone were here just as this company was very entrepreneurial and working on innovations. There was a need back then. FEP was put on allocation, and the category cables were just starting to come out in the structured wiring. And it was just its infancy. But at that time, the cables designed were insulation and jacket with FEP. And with the allocation, that really constrained a lot of the wire and cable manufacturers' ability to produce. So the solution, which had to do with a lot of out-of-the-box thinking and a lot of trial and error and a lot of collaboration internally, is coming up with a non-FEP, PVC product that could be used as a jacket and still pass the Steiner tunnel test. And that was the genesis of Smoke Guard. And that is the root to the culture of this company today, as far as its innovation of looking to find solutions that are transformative in the marketplace. And so looking at that, and as we go forward, we'll keep that in mind as you learn more about Alphagary. We say here one portfolio of many cable applications, really looking at as Alphagary as a full service provider. Everything we do is a bespoke formulation that is unique to each customer and each customer's challenge. We don't typically make products that sit on the shelf that can just be pulled off. We typically are working with our customers very closely, engineer to engineer, understanding what the challenge is and designing a product for that. That's why we do have thousands of different SKUs and different formulations that are nuanced to be very, very, very specific to the customer's needs, whether it's for flame resistance, oil resistance, chemical resistance, increased processing speeds or capabilities, thinner walls, smaller, stronger, whatever the challenge may be. And they have changed over the years. And again, the wire and cable customers we've worked with in the 80s and 90s, Their names may have changed, but we're still working with them today. So through us, with one connection, we pretty much understand that we could meet all of your needs if it's a good fit. So compounds across cable categories. If you look here, this is just used really as an illustration of the diversity of what the products can do. So the top one you see here is our Megalon brand, which is our halogen-free, low smoke, zero hal products. This is really, really hot right now in the fiber optic cables for data centers and other applications of CPR in Europe. The move has been towards producing one cable that can be utilized across the globe. And as a result, with these types of megalons that have great performance characteristics relative to flame retardancies or flexibilities or other stressors that are in a product, it surpasses all of those others that we see out in the marketplace. The smoke guard I spoke of, which is a specialty vinyl, and we have an olefin, which are manufactured plenum rated cables, flexible grades for desktop communications at data centers and commercial buildings. So a lot of people, when they think of Alphagary, they think of smoke guard because that was the initial innovation that really put us on the map and really put us in focus with the wire and cable marketplace. Down a notch is the GW series, which is riser rated and as well as general purpose rated cables for UL 1581 or 1685 and upwards to 1666. Those products would basically be anywhere from your 80, 90, 105 degree wiring cable insulation and jacketed materials. The Garoflexes are a PVC type alloy in some instances where it really has high flexibility, oil resistance, gas resistance, a look and feel like a thermoset rubber type product or replacing a thermoset rubber. So in that instance, because these products are thermoplastics, it can be considered more green than a thermoset. They're used in EV charging cables, industrial cables, scissor lift cables, all kinds of places where you have to need a robust, harsh environment. Garethane is, again, a PVC urethane alloy, which when you're looking for the characteristics that is offered to you from urethane, but with possibly some other characteristics which you can get from blending it with a PVC, such as flame resistance, ease of processing, abrasion resistance, and toughness, these products do very, very well. And some of the applications were in drilling sectors, in scissor lifts, and definitely in robotic cables. Our GCPE series is our CPE, chlorinated polyethylene products, which are very, very robust, very strong, weather resistant, maintain continuous flexibility in high flex applications like those giant scissor lifts you might see, as well as appropriate for class 1 div 2 hazardous location and cables in certain designs. So really robust, strong, and we're seeing a lot of interest in those products as well. Polyvinyl products is a building wire. They're recognized, UL recognized, THA type 2 for automotive wiring, so that has a yellow card attached to it. Very good products for those applications. Those are made in Latin America and in North America, as well as in Asia, at all of our plants worldwide. And then the Sylvan brand is the Sylvan Technologies, which was an acquisition about 10 years ago. Denver, PA, down outside of Philadelphia. They make a very, very good general purpose PVC, as well as a sort of like a GW type PVC, but their brand of it, which can be used in booster cables, speaker wire, flexible cord, THHN wire, and molding grades as well. They have a very good service levels, very, very strong on-time delivery, and they're able to do smaller molding grade batches as well. So this illustrates the scope, but it's not limited to it because remember, we talked about Alphagary being a capabilities company that's really focused on innovation. And so we'll get into some of the other innovations that we're working on in the next couple of slides. So A new innovation is not necessarily new to the market, but new to us. It's a new design and development for us in our engineering side, and also a new capability for us. And it's our GaraLink, our cross-link polyethylene compounds for the solar energy cables, as well as for other applications where a cross-link polyethylene cable is appropriate, such as under the hood automotive wiring, wire harnessing as well. We're finding it. So with this, we've had a couple of base grades that we developed, but as true to form with Alphagary, when we're looking at your application, we really, really want to be talking to you directly, because there's probably some customization that might be needed or might be done to this to optimize the material. Key properties for this is it's UV and ozone resistant. It has high temperature performance, enhanced mechanical strength, and safety compliance is designed for UL 44 and UL 4703 standards. And again, we have it in the e-beamed radiated versions, and we have them with the water curable versions. So both are available, but again, if there's interest in these types of products, we have to reach out to our commercial people to link you up with a conversation with our engineers to really understand what it is that you're looking for end use application in performance standards. New smoke guard indoor outdoor plenum cable. So what's new about this is a lot of the chemistry internally, which I am not privy to or really versed in by design. That's really for our engineers to do, but they've been able to design a smoke guard indoor outdoor plenum cable for fiber optic cables. And the interesting thing about this is it solves a problem that was happening with the previous types of indoor outdoor jacketing products. The previous versions would have a crystallization because they were hygroscopic in nature, and it would have these crystallines bloom. So a lot of work had to be done in the field to protect these cables from exposure to water. This eliminates the need for the connections at the end of the fiber optic jackets. One of the most expensive and arduous things about fiber optic connections is the labor that goes into connecting from, say, inside a building, outside a building, that back into a building in a campus environment. That tends to add a lot of cost. So when they choose to make one cable that can run from the inside of one building to the next building and possibly have maybe two connections on each end, which eliminates time, saves money, and keeps the integrity of the signal. These are AOM free. It avoids water soluble crystals that cause signal loss, and it's designed for a campus environment and data centers. Again, if there's interest in these kind of products, the first step would be to reach out to a commercial person to put you together with the right engineer to sit down, talk about what the application is, talk about what the needs are, what the challenges are, and to make sure that we're designing the right product for your need. But this is very exciting for us. And this is very new for us as well, and I think for the wiring cable industry. Smoke guard and the olefin insulation. Now, smoke guard and olefin insulation is something that has been around and people have been working on for many years now. There's been the 2x2, the 1x3, and so on and so forth. But as we continue to work on this, we've been able to design and replace some FAP and reduce the cost of the data cables. The other part of it we've been able to do, which is new, is improve the performance of its smoke suppression, its flame resistance, or while keeping its flexibility. In the past, some of these products might have been very, very stiff, not as flexible, or you might have had to have thicker walls than you'd want to. And in today's market space, a lot of people are looking for getting more with less. They want to have the smaller OD, thinner wall, more flexibility, because when you're installing into these plenums, raceways, a lot of times they're not taking the old cables out, and there's not enough room to be putting in more cables in. So a lot of these products help solve those problems. As we continue to work on them, we continue to discover new things about it. These are meant to meet the NFPA 262 plenum fire test requirements and supporting automation infrastructure as well as AI. So again, an alternative to FDP. It's a greener replacement. If you think about it, if you're able to not use FEP and use one of these products could theoretically be recycled through it, whereas FEP is a neat polymer. It's a little trickier to recycle, and we're very excited about this product as well. A little word on sustainability. Orbia is very, very, very serious about sustainability. And on our Orbia website, you could look at our impact report on sustainability, and it tends to get very, very high marks each year that we do it, and we do it out each year. As part of our mission in life to advance life around the world, sustainability plays a very big part of that. And how are we working with sustainability in wire and cable? We start from a customer's currently purchased material. So if you're working with Alphagary today and there's some formulations that we've been working with, we look at that and then we, as a benchmark, and to say, okay, this has a carbon footprint of X. And then we look to develop a lower carbon footprint material. And we work to do that to address the sustainability concerns while maintaining the mechanical, fire safety, and processing probabilities of the application. We have currently available in our Megalon product line, our Garaflex and Smoke Guard, where we have some of these. And some of these products, you actually can see that we could produce, because we're vertically integrated, the same material, but through a different mechanical chemical process, which subsequently is using less carbon. So you're getting the same product. We're making it a little differently in its processing. It's saving on the carbon footprint, reducing the carbon footprint, and these continue to expand as we continue to work on them. The other ways we're working on it is through waste to landfill actions at all of our plants, recycling energy in our plants, using green energy in our plants. All of those things we're doing, along with developing products for our customers that could help them lower their carbon footprint. So most companies today, when we bring this up, do have either at the board level or at a very high level, somebody who is in charge of sustainability. It tends to become part of their mission. If you have needs in the sustainability section of wire and cable and you're interested to talk to us, I'd please ask you to come forward. We'd love to engage with you and work on some of these initiatives together. Before we get into questions, one of the things I'd like to say is, with Alphagary today, and hopefully I gave you an idea of what our culture and our innovation and our culture is such. We're in a mode today that I find ourselves in that is unique. We're adding capacity. We're in a big growth mode. We've had in the last several years demand for our technologies and demand for our products that was really outpacing our ability to supply. And that became very apparent after the haze and the dust settled from COVID, that we really needed to increase our capability and capacity around the world. So we've invested real capital around the world in leadership in all areas, whether it's in the manufacturing or the engineering side of things. We continue to double our investment in our MRO investments in this plant, as well as our Pineville and other plants, to upgrade the equipment, futurize the equipment, and get it, greater capacity. We've increased capacity in Mexico. Last year, 15,000 metric tons. This year, 20,000 metric tons in our North Carolina facility. That's equal, that 20,000 metric tons per annum is equal to about 2.5 to 3 production lines. And we're going to continue to increase capacity next year by 10 million pounds, and the year after 10 million pounds. And we're looking to double our ability to put output in over the next 5 years. So in talking and prepping for this, one of the things I wanted to stress is we are actively, and you should see it on the website for IWCS in the near future, looking for commercial people, looking for engineering people, looking for that next generation of people to bring together to join Alphagary because we are going to be growing and we're going to be continue to invest. Orbia, as a corporation, we're part of the Orbia family of businesses, one of five. When we go for a CapEx request, it's pretty quickly put through because they really like our business, they really believe in our business, and they really see a huge future with our capabilities and our culture. And so with that, Dave, if there's not anything else.
Rob, that's a fantastic summary of an incredible matrix of materials, and of course, wiring cable. Just in today's technologies and cable designs, there's so many different materials that are required to make the performance happen and the safety requirements. So thank you for sharing that great portfolio of products. As you know, you and I both have come through the last 40 years of primarily focusing on data with a lot of these materials. And now the convergence of powering and data together. Classically, several years ago, the power over Ethernet type of applications. Now it's powering over everything. But how has that affected the various materials that you are developing, whether it be smoke guard or halogen free, in terms of other parameters like heat mitigation and things like that, beyond just simply flame and smoke?
So you just said it right there. The biggest issue prior to powering over Ethernet, as I see it, is before it was signal and flame resistance and smoke suppression, right? With adding power over it, now you have the concern about creating heat, creating too much heat, or if you're in bundles. And so depending on the design, depending on the end use application, the challenge there is then to make sure you got a product that can withstand the certain heat, whether it's 105 degrees, 90 degrees, or higher, that might be generated by powering and putting amperage through these cables, which is real. So it's every time you make an adjustment to one part of these formulations, there's a little bit of a cascading effect that might impact other aspects, and you got to always have that right balance. So again, that is something where we'd really want to be working very, very tightly and closely with the wiring cable producer and their engineering team to understand what the needs are, talk about what the puts and takes are as we develop a product that can sustain and pass and be safe as a power over Ethernet cable, if I answered that correctly.
Yeah, that really is the challenge now going forward, and it's the energy efficiencies that we have to create for data centers and everything else. It's all part of the same network infrastructure. So that's great. You did mention some olefinic solutions for installations in plenum cables to supplement the FEP components. Are you seeing any truly halogen-free solutions in plenum cable applications?
As 100% halogen free, we're not there yet. That's kind of the holy grail of having something that is a zero halogen plenum cable. As far as highly filled olefins and smoke guard O's, the advantages there tend to be signal improvements, design, the ability to design improvements, whether it's a thinner wall or it's more flexible, or it's more complementary to a jacket system. So using a certain Alphagary SGO smoke guard O as an insulation and using a very specific Alphagary smoke guard jacket PVC compound complementary to each other. We've been working very hard at collecting a lot of data between various peer designs with various jacket types to find out what the optimum ones are. But a completely zero hal all across the board is still something that we'll continue to work towards and will work towards.
Um, As we've been seeing in data cables and category 6 and beyond transmission, uh, the extended distance beyond the 100 meters, for example, out to cameras or other equipment in a smart environment, you don't necessarily need 10 gigs of data, but you need the right amount of power and the right amount of data to those devices. So you can get significantly beyond 100 meters. With that, um, are you seeing more indoor plenum or riser cables, for example, having to have outdoor performance capabilities such as UV resistance or any other kind of indoor-outdoor parameters to your compounds?
So a lot of what our customers do, we don't necessarily have a full picture of what the end use application is because they consider that IP. That said, we are seeing in the fiber space and in the copper space that people are going with, say, a plenum rated cable rather than using a plenum rated cable in one part of a building and then going to a riser rated building, a riser rated area where they could get away with a riser cable. So they're opting for this, one cable to run, which then may need UV or UV resistance or fungus resistance, or be able to be direct burial in those applications. And we're also seeing it in the factory automation, in the industrial automation market space, where you're going to have data going from a manufacturing line out to back to the panel, or not even in the panel in the same building, but it's going to another building. So all of those needs of wanting to have a plenum cable that can do more, and they want it to do more and be smaller and be more agile. It definitely keeps pushing the envelope. They want smaller ODs, they want thinner walls. All of these things continue to be a challenge each year as we continue to progress. So yeah, we are seeing those things and we are addressing them one at a time. And I would say I've not seen a set market coherence to a certain type, depending on who we're talking to and what problem they're trying to solve out there. It can be slightly nuanced, but from manufacturer to manufacturer. I don't know if you're seeing that as well.
Any other significant market trends that you want to highlight for the group?
Well, the big one for us really, as it's for everybody, is the surge in data centers and all the challenges that present in the U.S. Relative to product types, which we talk a lot here. But if we talk about our organization, seeing a lot of the changes in the geopolitical world, whether it's wars, changes in governments, changes in relationships internationally, we're setting ourselves up so that no matter what the scenario is going on down in the future, we will be able to service and supply technology and solutions to those regions. So being vertically integrated as a company, but also having facilities in North America, Latin America, Asia, and Europe, there's ways that we can work around with people legitimately with being able to supply Asia with our technology without having to worry about tariffs or obstructions. Be able to work with Mexico if there's more nearshoring going on, and supplying them as a strategy, and working with the UK and Europe as they look to grow and look to standardize on their CPR, and they're enhancing their performance of their cables for safety reasons. And then, of course, Asia, which is continues to develop. We have a joint venture with Shikun Polymers, and right now it's a joint venture which eventually in 2030 will be a wholly owned Orbia business. And we continue to invest there and slowly ramp them up into capabilities into our technologies as appropriate and as it fits into that market, so that we're able to service India, Asia, Southeast Asia, and China as well. Because today we're shipping from Leominster, Massachusetts into Japan and China, Thailand, all over the world. And we're looking to have as much parity to reduce risk, but also to service the global needs as they continue to evolve.
Great. Some specific questions on some applications for photovoltaic cables that also could be in wet environments. Is GaraLink a particular solution for that kind of application?
Yes, it would. And it was designed with that in mind because we see that as a macroeconomic growth going on in the world. And eventually, no matter what's going on with this current environment, we do see that there will continue to be need for photovoltaic cables and systems and batteries around the world and in North America. So depending on the cable design, again, that's where we got to get into because there are some slight differences. But relative to the temperature rating and the deformation that's required, the GaraLink, whether it's the e-bead version or the water curable version, those as a baseline would be appropriate. Again, we'd want to talk engineer to engineer on the designs and the need so that and we just had a meeting with a large automotive wire harnessing company where we had a very good collaborative meeting. And based off of that, our engineer leader on that, Mark Jazokis, is looking at adjusting some formulations that's specific to their needs, specific to their processing parameters to give them the best results.
Excellent. And a similar application, crosslink polyethylene for solar cables. Do those materials have any flame retardant properties, and could the cable actually meet the VW1, FT1 type of performance?
I'd have to defer to that one on them, our engineering guys. I believe so, being as a thermoset, and it's meant to meet the UL criteria reference there. Let me just check my notes real quick. But being that it's meeting the UL 44 and the UL 4703, I'd have to say yes. It was made to be not propagating and meeting those required flame tests.
Yeah. This is a question that actually I think is it's not quite correct when it's asking on PVC grades to perform as an alternative to FEP in plenum cables, but that's really differentiating the jacket being PVC and the insulation being something else.
Right.
But again, the question ultimately asks for the PVC grades, would they be meeting the indoor and outdoor UV resistance requirements?
Yes, as needed, yes. The formulations can be modified and enhanced to do that, depending on the application and depending on what the specific grade or formulation need is. Any of these formulations can be modified to meet UV resistance.
Okay. Again, this is a detailed question, but I'll ask you anyway, Rob. Are there any Megalon compounds that comply with ST12 per the IEC 60502 with an LOI higher of 40%? I know that's a detailed question, but
Yeah,
that
that's
high
one where
performance.
if I tried to answer it, I think I get kicked under the table by one of our engineers. But that's something we should take offline.
Yeah.
I would tell you our Megalons. Obviously I'm biased, are I feel the best in the industry and perform the best in the industry. And I know, there are a lot of people looking to find an equal to some of our Megalons and some of our grades of Megalons. But we know for a fact that our Megalon technology has allowed some fiber optic manufacturers to go into fiber counts and go into design counts and go into densities that they never were able to do before, or they couldn't do with any other low smoke zero hal product. So specific to that, we'll have to look and take it offline. I don't know about the LOI or the other application parts of it, but if we get that information, we could definitely answer that question, follow up with it.
Excellent. And again, it's the whole question of whether or not halogen-free materials can meet the plenum cable requirements. Um, what is it about the Steiner tunnel test or the applications for plenum cable that makes it so challenging for halogen-free materials to have a solution?
So again, I'd go back to the engineers on this one, but from what I know, I think it's like to get the smoke suppression and the proper flame propagation. Could it be done in a certain design of a cable? But I think the design of the cable wouldn't be desirable for, the manufacturer or the end use. There's certain parameters that they're looking for certain wall thicknesses, certain signals, with FEP insulation, or if it's a fiber loaded with fiber, that fuel and that loading into that low smoke zero hal, you need to have, at this point, and again, I should defer to engineering, but my thinking is that, the halogenated materials today are needed there to give you that performance of smoke suppression and flame resistance and stopping the flame propagation based on the designs that people are looking for. Because cable design is a big part of how a cable performs in the Steiner tunnel test, or how it performs in a VW1 or a tray cable burn as well. And so there's that two parts: the materials and the design.
That's great perspective. Thank you for that. One final question that I'm seeing here is the Alphagary capabilities in Asia, either directly or with your partners. What kinds of compounds are currently manufactured in Asia?
So they're slowly gearing up to be running our smoke guards, and in some instances, some of the types of megalons, but their historic was a highly filled uh, medium voltage and high voltage olefins for power cables and industrial power cables. Here in the United States, we don't do that, but we'd be looking to expand that capability by bringing those materials over here and offering as a service. So, those cables that are those compounds, which are a high density polyethylene or low density polyethylene, highly filled with carbon black, made for industrial cables, used in various markets for burying and so on and so forth. So those are the biggest. That's where it's the biggest fit. And then they're learning as time goes by how to work with some of our products and get the right type of equipment and the right type of science behind it. But we're not 100% there yet, but progress is being made every day.
Again, Rob, thank you so much. And on behalf of Alphagary, you really summarized the capabilities and opportunities for your company and the wide range of materials that are going to be essential for the technologies going forward. So thank you so much for presenting this information today. Very important and interesting. Please note the contact points for Rob. You've got his email address there should you wish to contact him directly, perhaps some of those more detailed performance requirements and compound selections. Each of these webinar events are recorded and are archived on our IWCS website. So please feel free to go back and review them and share the links with your colleagues. The IWCS webinar series conducts both technical paper presentations and industry trend webinars from our sponsored companies. And our next scheduled technical paper webinar event will be on Friday, March the 20th at 10:30 a.m. Eastern USA time. Each of you will be receiving an announcement for these events, so please feel free to share our announcements with your colleagues so that they can join in and participate as well. It's an exciting period of the year for IWCS as we're gearing up to creating an incredible program for this year's Cable and Connectivity Industry Forum in Orlando. It's our 75th anniversary, so we're excited to celebrate that amazing achievement. And we hope that each of you and your companies will consider submitting an abstract to present and be a part of IWCS 2026 in Orlando. The process is real simple. It doesn't take a lot to put together a good one-page submission as an abstract with a few of your technical objectives and information so that we can review them and place them within the conference. So please go to our IWCS.org website, and very easy process to submit and present your papers and your technology and the incredible innovations using some of these sophisticated materials would be really appreciated. Again, I can't miss the opportunity to thank immensely our partner sponsors who contribute not only the technical content and the innovations, but also they support us with their generosity financially. And without them, we would not be able to bring these important innovations and information to you and our global community. So again, we thank these leading suppliers, including Alphagary, for your strong industry support. Again, like I mentioned, we're really excited to be hosting our 75th anniversary IWCS conference at the Gaylord Palms Resort. For those of you who have been with us in the past, the Gaylord Palms is an outstanding venue that will be a great place to visit and bring the family. Of course, there's a lot of new attractions over at Disney and Universal and so much going on in the area. So we hope that you'll make this an event to join us, to both exhibit as well as present. But most importantly, we certainly would love to see you there to network with our industry suppliers like Alphagary and participate for the 3-day event in November, early November in Orlando. So please stay tuned, follow our website, but also keep an eye out for a number of announcements as we get closer. So thanks very much again to Alphagary, Rob, and we all wish you a great weekend. Stay warm, and hopefully spring is in the air sooner rather than later. So take care. All the best.
Thank you. Thanks, Dave. Thanks, everybody.